So just take the pressure off of what you think you're supposed to look like and enjoy what you have. And if there are more of those things that you want to do, then try to promote it. Try to bring it together. Try to have those moments. But if it's not happening, it's okay.
I'm Summer.
And I'm Mike.
And we got married with children.
It's been 12 years since we got this gang together.
And we're still running the rapids of living with a blended family.
And sometimes that is just not easy.
If you're looking for support and tools when it comes to divorce, step-parenting, co-parenting, and giving it your best,
you're in the right place.
We're talking about everything.
You ready to get this party started?
Always.
I'm recording this on my phone, so I hope that it sounds okay. Welcome to another episode of the Everything Always podcast. We are, we're squeezing this in. Mike was going to do it with me. We just got back from a long road trip, just the two of us, and we're like, we need to get a podcast out. And then it was last minute to get this going. And we'd already talked about it. We were going to do it together. And we were just both so tired. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put this together because it's an important topic. And I would have wanted to hear these types of things back when we were just beginning our blended family. I mean, let's be honest, I actually want to hear it again for myself right now. It's like a mental check-in. And I'm talking about the holidays because the holidays are nutso. And whether you're in a year of a pandemic or not, it's crazy time. So I'm going to talk about all of that today. I'm sorry that Mike is not with me, but we've actually got a good episode coming up that is with the two of us, and we're doing a year in review. So that is on the very, very near horizon. But today I wanted to put this out there because I know how hard it is to be in a blended family, to be a step parent, and deal with the challenges and all that comes up with the holidays. Holidays can be tough for a number of reasons, and they can be super tough for step families. It's like this time that can remind you or be in your face that you feel less whole. So, for example, if your husband misses his kids or you miss yours, or it's not your year for Christmas Eve and that's your favorite part, or it's the worries that you have as a step parent or step mom about how his kids are going to treat you, and it's having certain expectations and then seeing those not come to fruition at all. And if you're all living together, there's definitely going to be hurt feelings. Not definitely, but a lot of times there's hurt feelings of who got the better gift, who's getting more loved than the other, especially if your kids are younger and they're thinking about these things. What is she going to get for Christmas? What am I going to get for Christmas? And then when it finally comes, they're like, wait, I think her gift was more expensive than mine. That stuff happens. And even family photos become a thing. You're taking your holiday photos for your Christmas card. This happened with us. We actually have one of our kids who didn't want to do photos because he's just not into it. And guess what? He's an adult now. So he doesn't have to. And it wasn't because I don't want to be a part of that. It wasn't anything like that. It's just like, I don't want to take photos. I hate taking photos. It's just not something he wants to sit around and do. I mean, a lot of us don't even want to really do that, right? Get ready and have to take a Christmas photo. We tried to make it as super easy as we could this year. Like, hey, just show up, wear your regular stuff. There were no matching outfits. There was none of that. It was just like, let's put this together. Let's sit here and let's take a picture. And we did the best that we could. But what I learned from it is that I think years ago, I might have been like, oh, I want to get a really great photo where everyone's smiling and everyone's having fun. And I learned from probably the first time that we all did that it wasn't even about that. It was like, let's just get together and try to make this fun, because it's awful, especially with little kids, when you're like, okay, smile. Wait, you weren't smiling. Look in the camera, do this, because you want that great picture. And the best pictures that you get are really those candid ones. So what we tried to do is just make it
as fun as we could to bring out everybody's personalities, because it is great to have those pictures. I mean, it's awesome to have all of you together. And sometimes, especially as your kids get older, it's hard to get you all together in the same room. So the thing is, though, is just don't, it's okay if it doesn't happen. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you, or what did you do to make them not want to take these photos. It's just a matter of, especially as kids get older, getting to express themselves and have their own, freedom. And some people might say, well, you should make them. Come on, you should make them do it. No, we asked this year, hey, we're going to be doing some pictures. Do you guys want to be a part of it? I feel like you get a lot more from asking than telling them, especially as teenagers. Of course, this is totally opinion. You can do whatever you want with your family. That's just a suggestion. The other thing about holidays is that you might also be feeling judgment from friends and family as to how your family should look during the holidays. And you might hear things like, I can't believe you don't have the kids for this holiday. Why aren't you guys sharing it? Or why isn't this happening? Or, well, shouldn't you get to do this and then he can do that? That's not right. Or wait, the kids are only getting Christmas morning with you? Oh my gosh, that must be so hard. Is that even the best for the kids? Shouldn't they all be together? Why are you guys splitting holidays? Shouldn't you have all of them at the same time? You can receive so much judgment. And I say the word receive, it might be thrown at you. You don't actually have to receive it, but it can be thrown at you. And it can kind of mess with your head, and you start to question, wait, are we doing this the right way? Or should I be doing what they say? And sometimes the judgment comes from people who's never been a step parent, or who's ever been a part of a blended family. So just keep in mind that you don't have to accept those opinions at all. Then there's the whole scheduling. So if you already do have something in place, like, okay, he gets Christmas Eve, I get Christmas morning, or I get the whole holiday this year, or he gets the whole holiday, or he gets 2 weeks of time with them, whatever it is that your arrangement is, then there's the whole adhering to the schedule, which can also be frustrating for a lot of families. And I I totally get this, especially when it comes with step families and blended families. And if you each have kids and you're trying to make something work between your families, your side of grandparents or whoever it is that you're seeing, especially this year, I get it. Some people might not be seeing the regular people that they see, but whatever it is that you have planned, you're trying to keep to that schedule so that you can enjoy your holidays. And there might be somebody who's late. Your ex might be late, or maybe you're running late and you're feeling so frustrated because you're trying to get everything together on your side. This kind of stuff happens. It just happens. And just as life is, no matter how much you can plan ahead and be on top of it, things pop up. So that's why it is actually always better to have a plan and to be as prepared as you can, because then when things do fall out of your schedule or whatever it is that you were expecting it to be, you can probably adapt and react to it much better because you are in a mindset of, okay, this was the plan, instead of being super frazzled and having no plan at all. At least that's how I feel. I call it organized spontaneity. So where you have things set, you know what's happening, you have your schedule, but then if something pops up, it's okay because you already have the expectations of what was to come. I hope that makes some kind of sense. In my brain, it makes sense, but that's kind of how I am in life. I like to have a schedule. I like to have things planned, and then I'll even have my spontaneous moments planned. Okay, so back to the holidays and all of those frustrations. So the fact that we're also experiencing all kinds of crazy stuff with this pandemic, there's going to be drama with that too, because everyone's on a different page with who they're going to hang out with. Are you hanging out with anyone and everyone and just not worried about it? Or are there certain families where you're like, okay, I've limited myself to these people and these are the only people that we hang out with? Or are you just totally hanging out with no one except the people in your immediate household? Everyone is at different levels. I respect them all. Mike respects them all. You do you. It's all good. No judgment here. But with that, you could have your family in your home and your ex's family or your spouse's ex's family doing all different things. And that can lead to a ton of frustration. Today's episode is not going to be me telling you how to handle that situation in terms of what's right and what's wrong, because I actually don't know. We're going to figure that stuff out as we go. What we always talk about is how you can control how you deal with situations. And my hope is that amidst the crazy and the feeling that you need 5 rum eggnogs and peppermint schnapps, those kind of moments, my hope is that amidst those crazy moments, you can have that control and come to some of these perspectives that I'm going to share with you and what's helped me during those types of moments. And I'm doing this just as much for you as I am for myself, because I like to remind myself that I am in control when I feel frustrated. And hopefully it will be that big, deep breath that you need during this season. And it really is all perspective, and you get to choose that for yourself. Hey guys, guess what? We have a new website where you can see all of our podcasts and get easy access to the show notes, everything we talk about on the episodes, and you can even listen to the podcast directly from the site. You can contact us through the site and share your thoughts and questions. Check it out at www.everythingalways.co. That's www.everythingalways.co.
And you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Everything Always Co. We just set it up, and we'll be sure to put important announcements there.
And we love that this podcast has been so helpful to so many, and our hope is to share it with even more. So can you help us? Will you take a moment now or after the episode to subscribe to the podcast, write a review, and share it? It would mean the world to us, and it helps us to keep bringing you the best content.
Come on, we appreciate you guys. So what do you say, baby? Back to the episode?
Back to the episode. Let's just dive right into it. So first of all, a big thing for me is letting your blended family be what it is. So like I was saying earlier, you can get judgment. You can think, oh, it should look like this. It should look like the pretty pictures on the internet. It should read like this family does. And you can look at all of that and go, wow, they've got it so perfect. They've totally got it all figured out. And by the way, this isn't even just step families or blended families. This is just families in general. You're like, how come every night they're baking all these amazing treats and they just look so happy and there's no stress? I mean, does she really get along that well with her mother-in-law? And what about him? Is he really getting along with her ex-wife? Let's just take a deep breath and stop comparing to the other families, and let your blended family be exactly what it is. And if it is all baking in the kitchen and laughing and telling stories, then awesome. I can tell you right now, we have those moments. And then we also have the chaotic moments where it's just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Is everybody in a bad mood at the exact same moment? What is going on? Again, there are those moments where it's like, where's the camera? Can anybody see this? Everyone's laughing. We're playing games. We're cooking dinner. This is amazing. That's just real life. There's ups, there's downs. And sometimes it's, oh my gosh, we've got this group of our family together, but we're missing 3 key people. And it's sad. But that is the way that it goes. Sometimes we can't all be together. Sometimes the great part of your blended family is that once a month you can make an entire dinner together, especially as your kids get older and they're figuring out their way. You're not having the sit down at the end of the day after school, so there's not that happening right now. Hey, how was your day? How was soccer practice? How was everything? You're not really getting that, and they're not so little anymore. And this is speaking from us because we are having kids that are older, and we do just have a few that it's like, okay, we can all get together and sit and have dinner. But even with, shutdowns, lockdowns, all that's going on, there's still not all of us sitting together and having dinner, but a few times a week. But that's us. That's our blended family, and it's who we are. And we can't force it to be anything different. And we learn to not feel bad if it doesn't look like everyone at the table every single night. And maybe your holidays are not going to look like everyone all together with the parents and the grandparents and no tension and just laughs and fun stories. That sounds awesome. I mean, your great vision could be all of the parents and the step parents and the exes, everyone's all together one day telling stories and being so happy that you're all just putting on your mature pants and enjoying yourselves. But the reality for you might not be that. And so there's other ways that you can enjoy what you do have that's awesome in your family. I still think it's great to have those visions. I'm all about having those positive visions and, thinking of what's possible, because I think that having that can only bring you closer to it and puts you in a better mindset. But at the same time, you can't beat yourself up if your family doesn't look like that. So just take the pressure off of what you think you're supposed to look like and enjoy what you have. And if there are more of those things that you want to do, then try to promote it. Try to bring it together. Try to have those moments. But if it's not happening, it's okay. There's definitely going to be times where you might have disagreements with your partner, with your spouse, with your husband, with your wife. You probably will argue during the holidays. I hope not. We're trying our best not to have any arguments, but it could happen. I mean, it's like those high tension moments where it could happen. You might be arguing like, well, I thought that your son was going to be with us for this holiday. What's happening? Or I thought your daughter's being rude to me and I don't appreciate it. And she's asking me to get her this for Christmas, and I'm feeling all this pressure. And why is it that that's all she ever wants from me? I mean, there's like a number of different things that you could argue about. And it could be about the schedule. It could be about how much money you think that you should be spending on gifts for the kids. It could be with your ex on who's going to get what for the kids. There's those type of arguments as well. And then there's the argument with your current partner on what you should tell the ex in terms of what gifts should be given. There's so much stuff that comes up. You already know this. You know this. And I'm sure you're going, yes, oh my gosh, I'm going through that right now. It's an extraordinary amount of pressure, and it's unnecessary. The arguments, though, maybe are necessary. It's not necessarily a sign that you're doing a bad job or that you guys aren't getting along and that something's wrong with your relationship. I like to look at that as actually an opportunity to communicate on where you want to be and how can you come together, and what kind of strategy can you come up with so that there isn't all of this tension, and so that you guys can be on the same page. And sometimes the same page means I'm going to do this and you're going to do that, but let's agree to get along no matter what and just respect each other's choices. Sometimes that's what that is. So I would say to really look at those moments of tension, those moments when you're feeling let down, as an opportunity to really sit with it and change your own mindset, and also communicate better on what you can do to make things feel the way you want them to feel, without having to match that expectation or that ideal. Just this kind of goes into the next one that I've been thinking about. Oh, and by the way, I think I said this earlier, I don't have these like written out. They're just things that I'm literally just brain dumping on you and having a conversation with you one-on-one here about things that have helped me. And I might not remember them all. I should have written them down. But it is the holiday season and things are a little bit crazy with work, with getting it all together, the gifts. I thought I'd be done by now. I'm not. There's still the last minute things. I have a pile of wrapping paper and gifts. Some are hidden, some are not. It's the craziness. We're still going through. We still have stuff that we're working on in our house. Like we don't have a stair rail. We have a temporary stair rail right now. We were trying to get all of that stuff done before the holidays. They're not. I mean, like there's like a whole bunch of different things happening, but it's okay. It's all okay. It doesn't have to be what I expected it would be. And it's just about that mindset of, instead of thinking it all has to be done and then we can all be happy, it's more like, let's just keep going through each day and get through the stuff and celebrate as these things get done, but not get disappointed if they're not done, and not get disappointed if it doesn't flow the way we thought it would flow. And instead look at those as fun opportunities. Make it a fun thing. Oh my gosh, there was something I heard. Say, I told you I don't have this like all written out. Usually I have bullet points to talk about. I don't. But I heard something, of course, from one of the Peloton teachers, and it was so great. It was something about everything happens for an opportunity. I think that was what it was. And I've got to find what it is because it was so great. The idea was that things happen and there's an opportunity in every single thing. And it might not be what you want it to be. However, and there might be no sense to it. It might be something super awful, but there's some way that you can turn it into an opportunity. So think of that as the holidays are happening. And even if it's relationships, if it's, I'm going to spend more time with this child, or this dinner didn't happen the way I wanted to. And it made me realize that I need to get closer to this child. That's just an example. Okay. Let me get back to the things to help you through the holidays. So one of the things is that I was kind of merging into as I was talking about the expectations was, just remember that, like, I hate to say this word. But it is kind of the word, like, being mediocre or just normal is totally okay. So we put this expectation on how the decorations have to be and how Christmas needs to be. Have you ever seen, by the way, Bad Moms, the Christmas one? It's hysterical. And the mom says to the daughter, "This is Christmas. It's the big show." Like, she has all this pressure on her daughter that you have to make Christmas amazing for your kids. And the whole thing here is redefine what amazing is. Amazing doesn't have to be over the top gifts. Amazing doesn't have to be over the top vacations and, decorations all around the house. Amazing can just be games together. Amazing can be just the baking together, watching a holiday movie on the couch, just having time together. That's the feeling of amazing. And those things can be called just normal, right? Like mediocre, but they're not, because it's the feelings that you get when you're together, that feeling of being connected. That's what amazing is. So think of things like that don't cost a ton of money, that don't require you to put on a big show. It's just getting together for games. Maybe it's takeout, and just being there and listening to each other and talking about the year. And it just, some people just go so big, or think that they have to. And there's this incredible amount of pressure that you put on yourselves to be so perfect. And that's really not what it's about. And I think when I look back, it's the moments that really had nothing to do with the big gifts. It could just be the card. Like, what was the best moment? Oh, it was that card that you wrote me and what you said. It was the meaningful gift that you gave me that might not have cost a lot of money, but it was something that was so meaningful. So just think about those things. It doesn't have to be over the top. Okay, here's another thing too. One thing that I would say I've gotten a lot better at, and sometimes you'll get judged for this, but saying no and knowing when to stop, knowing when to say no, knowing when to say, I am not putting that extra thing on my plate. I'm just not doing it. I don't have the bandwidth, and being okay with that and not worrying about how other people are going to judge you. So don't feel like you have to say yes to everything if people are asking you to do 20 different things. Sometimes people are like, hey, get involved in this project that we're doing together where we're giving gifts and this and that, if it's overwhelming for you, then it's going to defeat the purpose of you giving back. Do something else that's not going to require so much, because the whole goal is like you want to feel good and you want to feel at your best. And if all of these things are going to be robbing that from you, then they're not worth doing. I would also say this. Sometimes you feel bad that your whole family isn't together. His kids, your kids, all the parents, but really just like the whole, like in our family, right? We've got 4 kids and then us as parents. And there are times where I'm really like, I wish we were all together. But sometimes that's not going to happen because there's different things going on the different sides of the family. And you can feel like, okay, we're not going to be as close. We're not going to be as connected because of that. And I want to remind you that some of the best times and the best way to feel connected is that one-on-one time with those different children. So it's one-on-one time with your partner, it's one-on-one time with your stepkids, and it's one-on-one time with your own kids. Those things that's actually where probably the best connection and bonding happens. So if you can't get all of you together, remember that you have that. You can make that happen. And I encourage you to make it happen as much as you have the power to do so. And it recharges you. It feels really good. And sometimes that might mean you and your partner with just one of those kids, but it doesn't have to be all of you. So don't feel bad that you couldn't make all of that happen as much as you wanted to, or maybe even at all. And another thing with the holidays is to get that alone time with yourself. At least for me, that's so important, where it's just, even if it's shopping by myself. Right now, we're kind of in this phase where it's like, I go out and the kids are like, I want to go, right? They want to go everywhere. They want to go shopping. They want to see all the Christmas stuff. And we do that. And then there's times where I'm like, I have to go and shop just by myself, just to cruise the aisles by myself, just to do something where it is totally me out of the house, getting a coffee, drive-through coffee, and then even just walking through the grocery store. No joke. And I know you moms get that. I know you totally get that, because you just need to like have nobody asking you for something. It's the most incredible thing. It's funny because they never stop asking. At least that's been my experience. Like when they're little, it's like, mommy, 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 mommy. And I feel like even as they get older, there's questions. Where's this? Where's that? Even if they are cooking for themselves, even if they are doing things for themselves or doing their laundry, they're still asking for, where's this? Where's that? Can you help me with this? It's all great. I love it. I wouldn't change that for anything. But there are times when you're like, I just need to be like in the car alone or grocery shopping alone. And that's okay. And you should do that. You should like schedule it if you have to. Okay. I think a lot of these are all super similar, and I'm going to close it now because I didn't want this to be a super long episode. I just wanted it to be something that you could listen to and have some reminders of, I don't have to be perfect. So here's the last one. Don't make yourself feel guilty. When I say make yourself, it is you making yourself feel guilty. Nobody else can make you feel guilty. That would be all on you. People can say things that trigger you to feel guilty yourself, but it's all you. I'm going to guess that you don't really have a lot to feel guilty about. You probably put that on yourself. And we all do that, whether you are a blended family, whether you are a childless stepmom, whether you are a stepmom and a bio mom, a stepdad, bio dad, whatever your dynamic is, there's things that you definitely make yourself feel guilty about. And the holidays stir up a lot of that, especially if things don't go perfectly and your child is upset, your ex is upset, your spouse is upset. You have these moments where you're like, it's my fault, or I wasn't good enough. So just like let that stuff go and know that you are doing the best that you can. And if you do feel frustrated, talk about it. If you do argue with your spouse, argue, turn it into an opportunity and communicate and let it something good come from it. All of these things can actually be amazing examples for your family, for your stepkids, for your bio kids. And it just shows that you're human, and that the best things about your life are being connected and feeling amazing, creating amazing moments, not by being extravagant, not by going over the top, but just having time together to bake, to play a game, to wrap presents, to walk around the neighborhood and look at Christmas lights. Those are the moments that really are the amazing parts of the holidays. And I do wish you a beautiful, wonderful, albeit different, holiday season. Thank you so much for listening. And we like to say, if you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone you love, and be bold enough to share it with someone you don't. See you next time.